And talking about industrialization, let's talk to the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. I have joining us virtually the Director General of the association, Mr. Segun Ajayi Kadri. Mr. Kadri, good morning. Welcome to the program. It's good to have you on the program because we would like to get your take on some policies which we've been hearing. Top on the list is the sugar tax for the sweetened beverages. What's the stance of the association, and have you had talks, to kind of push your perspective into implementation?
Okay, thank you so much for having me on your program today. It's always a pleasure to speak with you and to use your platform to be able to contribute to the national discourse on issues that should positively impact our economy, and in particular to grow this very important sector, the manufacturing sector. The SSB tax has been an ongoing conversation, not only in Nigeria but across the world. And the reason is because it is an issue that has been widely misrepresented in some quarters, and the one that will require very careful consideration. When it comes to Nigeria, it's largely responsible it's one sector that is responsible for very high volumes in terms of our output. About 33% of manufacturing output can be attributed to this subsector. And so any decision that is going to be taken about it must be intentional, far-sighted, and based on empirical facts. What we have seen in this case is that it's a major departure from the norm. We actually have a fiscal policy measure that has been introduced, which will guide how excise is charged in that subsector from 2026 to 2028. So this SSB tax new framework that has been introduced is an aberration. It's a clear departure from this 2026 to 2028 framework that has given predictability, planning capacity, and future investment calculation to those who are playing in the sector. And so our reaction to it is that government should have a rethink, particularly the National Assembly, because industry requires predictability for your planning, and you must ensure that will-be investors are able to have confidence, predictability, assurance that you are going to be stable in terms of how you regulate a sector.
So, Mr. Kadri, are you saying that it should be suspended for the period where you have this excise, I believe you said till 2030, or are you saying wholly it should be reconsidered, and if yes, what direction of reconsideration?
Okay, thank you very much. We're actually asking for both. In terms of being consistent, we say hold it until 2028, because that is what industry has subscribed to, even by government agreement. What I'm saying is that we are on the same page up until this disruption came. So to that extent, yes, hold it until 2028. And then the conversation we should be having now is what comes after 2028. The second aspect of saying hold it down is that you hold it and then you engage stakeholders to assess the impact and to borrow from other climes where there has been an attempt to introduce excise tax on this SSB, and whether they have been successful or they have failed, or what the impact has been on the economy. We must also be able to say what is the basis for introducing this SSB. The health concerns that have been raised, are they real? Are they specific to our environment? And at what level are we operating? Because empirical data shows that in Nigeria, our per capita sugar consumption is actually one of the lowest in the world, way below the WHO threshold. And you'll now be wondering, Did you base a government policy? Did you base a law that should apply in Nigeria on merely speculations or facts that are not supported by empirical data? What we call facts that are not supported by empirical data. And we have always said that government policy, no matter how well intentioned, if it's not grounded in empirical data of what is specific to our environment and from lessons across the world, is bound to have unintended consequences that may be catastrophic for an economy that is struggling like that of Nigeria.
So now that it's gone through the Senate, what are the legal available means, to air the views of manufacturers?
Okay, so the good thing about us is that we are relating very well with government, even the National Assembly and the executive arm of government. We continue to engage with them, and we did make representation to the National Assembly. Unfortunately, they didn't see it the way we have seen it. And it's very important that our views should be taken into consideration because we have 2,500 members that operate in 10 sectors and more than 65 subsectors across Nigeria. And their views, which they freely express to us and which we have always freely shared with all arms of government, is important and should be credible data for government action. So what we are looking forward to is a suspension of this aberration, even by government standard, and a continuous engagement with the industry players so that we are able to concentrate on growing the economy, growing the sector, and ensuring that we do not allow ourselves to worsen a situation we are even thinking we want to control. For instance, if you ban any item, you need to understand what is going to replace the ban. If you make a product too expensive, you must look at those who are the buyers in that ecosystem and be able to predict what they are going to do. Are they going to now go by the way of taking alternatives that are unwholesome and unregulated? And you will even look at the consumption pattern of an average Nigerian. How does it look like? And if you are talking of health issues, is this the most credible disposing factor? What is responsible for non-communicable diseases that are traceable to consumption of sugar? What's the percentage? And in terms of global reviews, have you seen where it is directly attributed to the consumption of SSBs? We don't talk about the issues of the genetics, the lifestyle that anyone adopts, and the general environment in which they operate. Have you factored it into the consideration? So going forward, we think that engaging with stakeholders and other lovers of Nigerian economy, because it has come to that, we'll be able to have a reasonable conversation that allows us to factor in all of these factors and not just allow ourselves to be pressured by NGOs and groups that are only interested in marking their KPIs and achieving an environment where local and domestic industries are made to crumble, and we unwittingly promote massive importation from economies that are well advanced and able to use NGOs, theories that are unsupported by facts on the ground to influence government policy.
Well, we certainly hope that that conversation will go on. I'm kind of curious, though. Which of the arms of government are you having conversations with now?
Both arms of government, the legislature and the executive. And we actually trust that fiscal policy measures are better left to the executive arm of government, who have direct relationship with the industry. For instance, we have the Ministry of Finance, we have the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment that we can very easily engage with, and they are the executive arm of government. We respect the right of the legislature to make laws for the country, but those laws must be based on facts and realities on the ground. And we have always made ourselves available as a business membership organization, responsible enough to give data that can be verified at all levels and that can be compared with the experience from other clients where we have manufacturers and with whom we compete even in our domestic market. So I believe that this conversation will continue to broaden, and the legislative arm of government, being a responsible representative of the people, should listen to us, because this is global practice, and any economy that continues to favor foreign theories and continues to support agents or give oxygen to agents of foreign domination of our domestic economy will not mean well for us.
All right, and I think the other issue which man has been speaking on is the proposed ban of single-use plastics. What's the update on that?
Well, we are actually hoping that that is also revisited. And again, this is another case of taking measures that do not reflect the realities on ground and does not allow the space for government to do the heavy lifting that will promote our economy. Globally, recycling has become the norm. And you can actually create, and countries and economies are creating economies out of recycling. We are using a problem. So we have a problem. And in solving it, you have a choice to make gain out of it or to lose completely. What we have chosen by this ban is to lose completely. Because what we are talking about is not an environmental problem. It is actually a waste management problem. And you can positively manage it in conjunction with the industry players to be able to make gains out of it, to be able to create jobs, first and foremost, create recycling industries. And we have many of them springing up all across the country. You are going to create jobs for those who will be picking those plastics. You are able to create technology around the processes that are used in recycling. You are going to create jobs for those who are doing retail. You are going to make it possible for the average common Nigerian whose sales is in little bits. You don't cancel that economy because it's viral and it's sustaining families, schools, medicals, and people's livelihood. So you must be able to have a win-win, and that's what we are asking. Because as we speak, that ban itself does not take into consideration what is going to be a replacement. And that does not help anyone. You are already having an extended producer's responsibility framework that we are pursuing diligently. Government needs to intensify and deepen this process and work with us so that we'll be able to create an industry out of waste, so to say. And this is what is global best practice that people are adopting. In Ogun State, for instance, we do not have that issue because a whole economy has been created where women, young people are being innovative about cashing in on the opportunity that has been created. I would rather that we follow that pathways than for us to subscribe to issues, measures that are not suitable for our local environment. Government should at this time be focusing on reducing the unemployment rates in Nigeria and helping livelihoods to grow. Because at the end of the day, governance is about the well-being of the people. And now that we have insecurity plaguing the country, we should not fuel that huge population to go into that direction. I believe government should be very sensitive to what can deindustrialize Nigeria, lead to unemployment, reduce its own revenue collection, and reduce our capacity to adapt to new technologies and innovation. We should create atmosphere that young people will easily be able to have entrance, and this is one of it, where they can easily establish factories that cash in on the opportunities in that area. So we should look at it in a more global context and not just narrow ourselves to somebody whose only instrument is a hammer, and then every other thing looks like a nail to him. Ban is absolutely not the solution, and I think we should learn from history.
All right, the good thing is our next guest is the Special Advisor on Climate Change and Circular Economy for Lagos State. So, Mr. Kadri, you can be sure that will be the first thing I'll ask her. Thank you so much for your time and your views on the program this morning. Mr. Segun Ajayi Kadri, the Director General of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you.